which includes the use of the recording, transcripts, affidavits, and documents in this hearing as evidence in any court or legal proceeding. Do you consent to the recording?
We do.
Do you also consent that we live stream this hearing or subsequently air it on a later date on television and other forms of mass media, including social media in accordance with the ICI live streaming guidelines?
We do.
We do.
Do you also consent to distribute copies of your sworn statements and other other exhibits to the public in other forms of mass media, including social media?
We do.
We do, to the extent that we don't violate any of our regulations related to the banking industry.
Do you confirm that you submitted to the Commission a letter requesting an executive session?
We do, sir.
Do you consent that the Commission may share this letter request to the public and other forms of mass media?
We do.
Thank you. You may now be seated.
Thank you and good morning. Thank you for coming. I'll be turning over the floor to Commissioner Singson.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Madam President of the Land Bank. May I call you Ms. Lynette?
Yes, po.
And to your colleagues, we got this morning or a few minutes ago a government disbursement framework which is for ICI. For the benefit of the other members who don't have this copy, maybe you can just describe to us briefly what is the content of this document. Because I think we really need to fully understand the disbursement framework of Land Bank so that if we feel there are some lapses because of what happened in the past, and even from your side, you may also want to give some recommendations so that ICI may consider those recommendations to address some of the, and to avoid a repeat of what happened. So, ma'am, please.
Thank you. Yes. Well, good morning.
Please use the mic for recording purposes.
Am I on?
Thank you.
Yes. So, good morning, Justice Reyes. Good morning, Mr. Singson, and good morning, General Azurin. Good morning, ED Brian Osaka. Thank you for inviting us to the ICI. If I may, sir, I'd like to introduce the Land Bank team. To my right is the head of branch banking, the branch banking sector, Marilu Villafranca. And to my left is Attorney Cesar Cabañas, who is our Chief Compliance Officer. And I'm also supported by our Head of Legal and our Head of Strategy.
Maybe other names.
Sure. Attorney Toti Vallada and Attorney Tolentino.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Justice. So first of all, we thank the ICI for this invitation to shed light on the budget preparation process, fund allocation mechanisms, and the detailed flow of funds from the DBM to the DPWH and subsequently to the contractors engaged in flood control and infrastructure works. We will provide information on the institutional workflows, internal controls, and validation procedures that govern the financial processes in the spirit of strengthening transparency, enhancing interagency alignment, and supporting the Commission's ongoing review. Our presentation is focused on two components. One, the government disbursement and account control framework, covering the modified disbursement procedure, account opening, onboarding controls and validations, and reporting obligations, including what we've submitted to the AMLC and also within our bank, Land Bank, for proper escalation. The second part of this presentation will be on the fund flow analysis to DPWH contractors, consolidating verified transaction data and mapping the direction and magnitude of inflows and outflows across contractor and related accounts. I'd like to just perhaps frame it that we will start off with a modified disbursement system, which is a government payment system where DBM releases funds to DPWH through special bank accounts for paying their authorized expenses. There are multiple agencies and departments and also groups within the bank handling this well-established practice that has been in place since 1990, created under the joint DOF-DBM circular, which centralized government disbursement through the issuance of checks. In 2013, through a DBM circular, the process transitioned to electronic disbursements, which are now called List of Due and Demandable Accounts Payable and Advised to Debit Account, also known as LDDAP ADA. This is the government payment system where agencies like DPWH authorize Land Bank to debit their account and directly pay their suppliers or creditors. And Land Bank, as a government financial institution, implements the process, which includes validation, timing, and reconciliation, among others. So our presentation, sirs, your honorable members of ICI, will go straight to, I believe, the government fund disbursement where we cover MDS. And now, if I may pass it on to Attorney Cesar Cabañas, our Chief Compliance Officer.
Excuse me,
Yes,
that's
yes,
page
sir.
8, just to make sure.
Yes, page 8 of our presentation.
Page 8, sir.
So to start with, the government fund disbursements, modified disbursement system. The participation of Land Bank in this process starts with the budget implementation. Earlier, we were also requested to make a briefer or presentation even with the budget processing, but we respectfully pointed out that the budget processing does not involve Land Bank itself. So Land Bank's participation starts with the budget implementation, which is the period within which the funds are being released to the national government agencies. So Land Bank's participation is twofold. One, with regard to the disbursement of funds from the modified disbursement system of the Department of Budget and Management, and at the same time, as depository bank of various government suppliers and creditors. So I start with Land Bank's role in the disbursement of funds from the modified disbursement system. As you know, the Department of Budget and Management issues the Notice of Cash Allocation directly to Land Bank, which serves as basis to assign book balances to the national government agencies' sub-accounts for the modified disbursement system. Now, from the Notice of Cash Allocation issued to Land Bank, this Notice of Cash Allocation is also furnished to the central office of the national government agency, which in our case is the Department of Public Works and Highways. Out of the Notice of Cash Allocation, the central office of the DPWH issues a notice of transfer allocation to its various regional offices and operating units.
This is the NTA.
Yes, NTA, or Notice of Transfer Allocation. Now, based on going back to the Notice of Cash Allocation, these are credited to various MDS sub-accounts of DPWH, wherein the bank validates the hash totals on the validation report and actual documents are checked. Now, on the part of the national government agency, specifically the regional offices and operating units, they issue the necessary advices. This may either be advice of checks issued and canceled in those cases where it issues checks chargeable against the modified disbursement system. It can also be through the issuance of the list of due and demandable accounts payable, advised to debit account, or what we call LDDAP-ADA. And these documents are also being validated by the Land Bank branches for processing. Now, the Advice of check issued and canceled for MDS check issuance. This serve as basis for the bank to clear the checks in case these checks are negotiated later on by the government suppliers or creditors. On the part of the list of due and demandable accounts payable and advice to debit account, this serves as basis for the branch to issue the debit advice so that this will be the proceeds of which shall be credited to the account of the supplier or creditor which it has with the bank. The crediting should be done not later than 24 hours from the bank's receipt of the advice of list of due and demandable accounts payable and advice to debit account issued and canceled, but not beyond 48 hours from the bank's receipt of the said document. Now,
Excuse me, these are all done electronically. No more physical checks under LDAP.
Commissioner, there are two ways.
Okay.
There, of course, is the electronic way, which is digital, but there could also be a request for checks. So there are various ways for them to be paid. They could get a credit to their account, or they could also request for checks.
Proceed,
okay,
please.
yeah, if I may continue, the Land Bank Head Office, we have this department consolidating the negotiated checks as well as the list of due and demandable accounts payable or advice to debit accounts. And these are being submitted regularly to the Bureau of the Treasury. Now, this also serves as basis for the bank to request for replenishment of the Bureau of the Treasury's seed fund being maintained with the bank, just to ensure that succeeding modified disbursement system disbursements will also be fully funded later on. Now, on the right side, if we'll just illustrate the usual transaction that happens with the regional office of the DPWH. Number one, issuance of funds. TBM issues the NCA, which Land Bank Head Office credits to the DPWH mother account maintained at Land Bank branch. And then DPWH Central Office issues the notice of transfer allocation to the various DPWH district engineering offices.
Excuse me, what triggers that NTA again to directly to the district?
Yeah, as I was saying, the notice of cash allocation is being issued directly by the DBM to Land Bank.
Okay.
In turn, the DBM issues advice of notice of cash allocation issued to the central office of the DPWH.
Central.
Yes.
Who then authorizes the release to the district office?
Yeah, that serves as basis for the head office of the DPWH to in turn issue the notice of transfer allocation.
The NTA is coming from the head office of DPWH directing Land Bank to release the amounts to the DEOs.
That's correct.
That's correct, sir.
That is under an NTA also? Or?
Yes.
Yeah, because I think as you move into the whole process, that's where I personally want to focus on. You know? What happens at the district office? Because under DBM rules, the district office is the implementing agency already for those releases under NCA and TA. Similar to one central office of the other agencies of government. But in this particular case of DPWH, the implementing agency, as far as DBM concerned, And for that matter, releases of funds from the land bank is the district engineering office.
Right.
Di ba?
Yes.
Okay. Sige, go ahead please.
Now, in addition to the instruction to the bank to issue the funds to the district engineering offices of the DPWH, the notice of transfer allocation also serves as basis for the district engineering office to issue the advice of checks issued and canceled, or the list of due and demandable accounts payable, or advice to debit account, as the case may be.
So check or electronic advice.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Now, when these documents are received by the branch personnel, these are being verified and uploaded in the bank's own system through its land bank tellering system. In accordance with,
When you say verified, what is verified? Signatories, persons, amounts, what does land bank verify in particular? Signatories lang ba?
Your Honor, if I may
Yeah,
answer
please.
that, please. When we do the document and identity verification, the client presents the withdrawal slip or the check to us. And then we will verify the
Again,
signature.
the client, when you say client, contractor, supplier?
The contractor,
Ayun
sir.
na, no?
Yes, sir.
Hindi na DPWH yan.
It's the contractor, sir.
Contractor na.
Yes, sir.
That has either been issued a check or
Or credited to the account, sir. So in that case, if it's credited to the account, they are using passbook. So they will present to us the withdrawal slip. And based on the withdrawal slip, we will verify the signature based on that. And
So-
also check the balances.
Okay, so the verification is only on the signatories authorized by yung taong yan and the balance, kung may balance pa yung office
Yes,
na
sir.
yun.
Yes, sir. But I have a complete process flow in the succeeding slide.
Okay, okay.
If you may
Maybe
allow
I'm
me.
jumping the gun already.
Commissioner, sorry
Yeah.
if I may. I think we split the presentation in two parts.
okay.
The first part, of course, is how we deal from DBM to DPWH to the district engineering offices, and the submission. So I understand your question, Commissioner. What do we verify insofar as what DPWH submits to us? So we do check everything that DPWH submits to ensure that it is compliant with all of the agreed processes that we have in place. So, Cesar, do you want to add to that?
yes, ma'am. Now, on the documents being submitted to the branch, we were discussing the advice of checks issued and canceled, as well as the list of due and demandable accounts payable, advice to debit account. What are being verified are, of course, the signatories. As you know, these two documents are considered to be accountable documents, and these have to be signed by the authorized signatories of the agency. Second, we also verify by checking on the hash totals, so that the amounts actually correspond to what was indicated in the notice of cash allocation.
Commissioner, this is the reason why we are given 24 to 48 hours
Verify.
to review and verify all the documents, after which the credits are then processed to the respective accounts of the engineering offices.
Yeah. So funds to be released through the list of due and demandable accounts payable and authority or advice to debit account will have to be credited to the accounts of the creditor or supplier with the bank within a period not exceeding 48 hours from the bank's receipt of the document. Now, with regard to funds being disbursed through the issuance of modified disbursement system checks. The crediting will actually depend on when these checks are being negotiated by the payees.
May I ask at this point, what would be some red flags as far as Land Bank is concerned? Maybe I'm already jumping the gun. Baka nasa ibang explanation, no?
Yeah, Commissioner, insofar as the government fund disbursement process is concerned, I believe that there are no red flags in this process. This has been in place since 1990. That has now, of course, been moved to EMDS. So we don't think there are any red flags insofar as the actual government process is concerned. But we do have some commentary or inputs on the second phase, which we can go through.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sorry.
thank you, sir. Cesar, is there anything else?
Yes. When it comes to this entire process that I mentioned, there's a lot of controls provided in the applicable issuances issued by the Department of Budget and Management. So in our case, we did not actually identify any red flag. For one, the funds are supposedly to be or required to be credited directly to the accounts of the suppliers or creditors having accounts with the bank. Even with the issuance of modified disbursement system checks, the DBM circular letter requires that this be directly credited to the accounts of these payees. So there are no instances wherein these checks have been encashed by persons.
Other than the supplier.
Yeah, and in fact, this cannot also be encashed by these suppliers themselves, as they are for direct credit only to their deposit accounts.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, the next part, or the next role of Land Bank will also be with regard to being depository bank of the suppliers or creditors.
Mandatory yun, ano? Mandatory that they open an account with
So-
government banks, either Land Bank or...
Actually, Commissioner, it is really not mandatory for the contractors or suppliers to open accounts with government institutions. But I believe that it is
That's them.
it was encouraged, actually, just so that it would be easier
For clearing.
insofar as verification, and because in the process, when a contractor or a supplier opens an account with the bank, there is a letter of introduction that comes from the DPWH. And that is the first document that is the basis for opening an account. With your permission, Commissioner, our head of branch banking, Lou, will take us through. Yes, sir.
Yes, that's my idea that all the contractors should have an account with you. But I was told that it is bad for the banking industry because you are cornering the money, and it will be not to the liking of the BAP.
Oh, okay.
What do you think about that?
Well, I believe in free market.
So you
Chair.
cannot force them.
Certainly not. I believe that it's very good for competition amongst banks, so that whoever has the best service then wins in terms of, the preference of the individual or the supplier or the contractor, sir.
Is this done in the other countries like the United States?
I believe, sir, that there is free.
Also
it's
free.
That's
There's no
free.
force accounts to be open.
I don't think there will be. I don't think you can compel a private individual to open an account with any one institution.
But don't you think the government has the right that the contractor should open an account and maintain that account throughout the project?
Insofar as which institution, I think that's open, sir, to free market and forces in the market. But I do think that the scrutiny, I support you there, Chair, that the scrutiny around what should be provided in terms of information can be required or demanded by the DPWH, because it's the DPWH in this case that in the first place accredits all those contractors. So while there is bank secrecy and you cannot maybe go through the full detail of how those accounts are being managed, I do think that the DPWH or the agency has every right to request for information from their contractors as they see fit. Because the accreditation process in the first place, the awarding of those contractors will come from the respective agency, sir.
But then the government can impose such a rule that during the entirety of the project, you must maintain an account.
I believe
with
so,
the bank.
sir. I mean, if the agency or the government chooses to require that, I believe so, sir.
And that could be part of free enterprise, don't you think so? Because that's government money. It's not private money.
I think we need to further review that, sir. We need to further study that, yeah.
Okay, I'll turn over the floor.
Thank you,
I
Chair.
think what is required of government agencies is that you cannot open an account other than a government bank. No, that's for sure.
Yes, sir.
But the question is, because what we're finding out is the transaction, in particular between DPWH and then the contractor, ang daming leakage. No? Because payments are made directly to private banks, and the contractor at the end of the day just reports what they want to report in their ITRs. No?
That's correct.
That's why one of the recommendations of the Commission is, okay, if you don't want to open, if the contractor does not want to open an account with the government institution or government bank, at least all transactions or funds released by that bank to the contractor has to be recorded and advised to government agencies, whether it's BIR or SEC, or because that's where we're finding there's a lot of leakage happening in income tax returns of contractors. No? That's the point I think the chairman wants to plug,
Yes.
while we're still at this high-level process and these transactions. No?
We understand, Commissioner. Yeah, we understand, Chair. With your permission,
Yeah.
sir, if we could go through perhaps the account opening
Yes,
and the
yes.
process flows and the controls that we have in place, if that's all
That's
right.
page 9.
That's
Yes,
correct.
sir.
I would not even go there because that will be all mechanical, right? My question is, you get the money from DBM. The DBM gives you the money for the DPWH.
So DBM chair chair will allocate it to the respective agencies through MDS, the modified disbursement account.
So,
From, yes.
So DBM will inform DPWH first.
So there will be, sir, a notice of cash allocation, which serves as land bank's basis to then credit the accounts of the respective agencies. In this case, DPWH's modified disbursement accounts. And then DPWH has sub-accounts, and in those sub-accounts, it then branches out to the respective district engineering offices.
No, my question is the DBM would inform the public works that there's a check with Land Bank, or Land Bank will be the one to inform DPWH.
Okay.
If I
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yes,
Lou.
if I may, sir. Just for clarity before I answer your question, the MDS or the modified disbursement system of the government is not a regular account, sir. It's not a deposit account. It's just a contingent account that is being allocated per agency. So when there's a budget given by the government by January, so that's according to the agencies, and then agencies through their central office, in the case of DPWH, will coordinate with the DBM on the issuance of the notice of cash allocation. So this is from the central office, specifically for a certain project. And then based on this NCA, the central office will submit documents to Land Bank for us to, because we have the centralized system for the MDS, for us to credit the corresponding running balance for that certain account. And then with this, when we have allocated that funds or credited that funds using the action document releasing system or the ARDS portal of the DBM, then the DBM.
Anyway, may I cut you?
Yes,
so
sir.
the DBM talks with DPWH and they give an NCA
Yes,
to
sir.
DPWH.
Yes, sir. That's a central office.
And DPWH would present the NCA to Land Bank.
Not yet, sir. And then DPWH will notify the regional office through the notice of transfer allocation per regional office.
So this NCA would be, is there only one NCA or several NCAs?
One NCA, sir.
So they
Then-
will divide the NCA to all the regions?
Yes, sir.
12 regions, something
Yes,
like
sir.
that?
Yes, sir.
That
Let's say it's
is that
12
the full
regions.
amount of the budget or what was only released?
Only for release for those projects, specific projects, sir.
So do I get it that the entire amount for the project is already released?
No, sir. It comes in tranches, depending on the milestone of the project.
So
We know this because we see the disbursement orders presented to us by the DPWH regional offices.
So you're the one that controls the money going out, Land Bank or
We
DBM?
act on instructions, sir. We
Yes.
act on instructions. So our role is really like an agent. So we wait for instructions from the respective offices, in this case DPWH. DPWH will instruct us, and only upon instruction do the credits to the respective accounts happen.
So I understand, let's say Manila, DBM would give the money to DPWH and you will give it to Manila. And the public works would coordinate with Land Bank as to when the money was given and what is remaining, the
Yes,
balance.
Yes, sir.
Is
And
that-
that is coordinated through the regional offices.
Now, do I get it right that the district engineer can issue a check for 100 million, 50 million? Just the district engineer.
The district engineer, sir, does not issue check. It's actually just the notice of transfer allocation, and then we will coordinate with the BTR because the money is with the BTR, sir.
What's BTR?
Bureau
Bureau of
of
Treasury.
Bureau of
Yeah.
Treasury.
And then that's why we have the 24 to 48 hours a window, so that this will be funded by the Bureau of Treasury. So when it is already funded and we have already completed the NTA documentation, that's the time we credit it using the LDDAP ADA to the accounts of the contractors.
So DBM gives the money to the public works, but the money is with the Treasury. It's not anymore with Land Bank. Is that what I understand?
Just to clarify, Justice,
Oh, yes,
the DBM only allocates the funds, but the money actually comes from the Bureau of the Treasury, and it is being charged against the seed fund that the Bureau of Treasury maintains with the government servicing bank, which in our case is Land Bank.
So in case Manila DE, District Engineer would say, we are finished, we need the money request would go course to Land Bank or through the Bureau of Treasury.
Yeah, if I may go back to the process, just to be clear on the flow, DBM issues the notice of cash allocation to the bank. And then, in turn, it issues advice to the central office of the government agency that such notice of cash allocation has been issued. Now, based on that advice of notice of cash allocation issued,
NCA, yes.
the central office will in turn issue the notice of transfer allocation to the various regional offices.
Notice of transfer of allocation,
Right.
A.
NTA now.
A, sir.
Yes.
Yes.
That will also serve as basis for the bank to already fund respective sub-accounts of the regional offices.
So this NTA goes to the district engineer or the regional office.
Yes, because they're going to be furnished a copy, but then it is actually issued to the bank itself. The MTA will also be furnished to the regional office so that they will know if it is already time for them to issue advice of checks issued and canceled, or if not through ASIC, the list of due and demandable accounts payable, advice to debit account.
So it goes to the central office, then it goes to becomes an NCA given to the district, but then the district, when they ask for the money, they have to go to landmark again.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
On the process flow for the crediting of accounts, sir, I will be tackling two transactions. One is the onboarding of the account opening. The other one is the withdrawal of funds. On slide 9, on the account opening, we have here the four main activities: submission of requirements, KYC verification and screening, review and approval, as well as the account activation. On the submission of requirements, as mentioned by our PCEO, we mandatorily require from all of the contractors the submission of the letter of introduction. And also, they are required to present to us full set of KYC documents. So these are their IDs, the corporate and also the government documents, SEC, DTI papers, as well as the GIS. The purpose for this is for us to establish legitimacy, capture who is the beneficial owner, and also to find out if the account is still active or in dormant status. From here, we go now to KYC verification and screening. This is the one that I mentioned earlier. So we will identify and validate the beneficial owner for this account. In this case are the contractors. We also process them and scrub them according to our sanction screening using the sanction lists, watch lists, negative media, as well as the PEP screening. We also assign, yes, sir.
In terms of the identifying the contractor, do you also ask for SEC registration and so on?
Yes, sir. Depending on the...
If it's a corporation?
Yes, if it's a
so you'll
corporation,
ask.
yes. But if it's a DTI, if it's a proprietorship, it's just a DTI, sir. Okay. And then after that, we also conduct a risk classification per account. So we assign them as to low, normal, or high. These are actually, sir, requirements of the AMLC. And then we assess the source of funds. We assess it, and in this case, since these are government contracts, we have a reliance on the presumption of regularity because we have pre-identified that all the disbursements are coming from the MDS accounts. After this, we conduct the review and approval. We have branch officers reviewing all the documents, so we check the completeness and consistency. And as I mentioned, we assign the risk classification. If the account is high risk, we subject them to higher EDD and higher approval at head office. The last one is the account activation, and this can be seen in the accomplished customer information sheet of the contractor, and they will have to present themselves to sign the specimen signature card, which will be validated by a land bank officer. This account can only be activated upon confirmation of all these documents as well as the presentation of the initial deposit. As to the key controls and validation, on the identity verification, so there is a submission, sir, presentation of the ID, as well as the document, the corporate documents. We also establish the beneficial owner for each account and also scrub them according to sanction screening. On the risk management, we assign a risk score, determining how is the due diligence that we will be conducting per account. On the monitoring side, we have a regular assessment and updating of accounts, and this is for high risk, we do it every year. For low and normal risk, we do it for 2 years. And this is also being monitored by the senior officers, using the reports from the significance balance change and the large transaction reports. On the documentation or record keeping, we have the documentations in place. So we have the requirements from the LOI, we have that in our records, and as well as the KYC documents. On the other documents, we have kept them digitized copies if we have scanned copies of these documents, as well as the digitalized processes in our system using the land bank's onboarding system. So this is all for the process flow for the account opening. If I may go, yes, sir.
Continue.
Okay, sir. Thank you. If I may go to the withdrawal of funds now. So
Teka
this,
muna,
yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, before the withdrawal, you mentioned certain items, no, like large transaction report. What is large? What amount is large?
Sir,
that will trigger-
per our internal process, we identify large transaction for personal accounts, that's 20 million. For corporate accounts, that's 50 million.
So 50 million will trigger a...
We will elevate the monitoring and notation through the group head of the branches group.
Okay. What triggers a high-risk profile?
For the high-risk profile, sir, one is that there is a filed STR for this person.
What do you mean?
Suspicious transaction report, sir.
Okay.
So for the
STR.
suspicious transaction report, we identify that if the presented documents are suspicious. So there is a complex transaction, and we have somehow read them using the negative media lists, and also if there are unlawful activities attached to this person.
So if I may,
Yeah, please.
there is a customer information sheet
Yeah.
that is requested in terms of what is fulfilled by in this case, the contractor or the supplier. In that customer information sheet, the client has to more or less indicate not only its type of business, but also what is considered regular for that client in terms of withdrawals and deposits, and that is validated by the team on the basis of other documents submitted. What's their business? Does this cash flow really equate to the funds and flows? What kind of projects did it win? So what is considered, I suppose, suspicious is if it deviates from the customer information sheet and the assessment of the risk profile when the account was opened.